This should be of interest to every person who has a desire to communicate effectively. The ability to sell your ideas or products to others is a highly marketable personal asset. Every kind of leadership position, management, sales, political, civic, etc., is available to and in fact reserved for the individual who can communicate effectively. To learn to be a good speaker is insurance for success in life. Ed Foreman is an eminently qualified person to address this subject. He's a former farm boy who learned to express himself sufficiently, confidently, and persuasively enough to be elected to the United States Congress from 2 different states, Texas and New Mexico. The only person in this century to be so honored. A graduate civil engineer, Ed has built a successful business career in construction, transportation, and petroleum development. Through his popular Successful Life course program, originally begun to help his own business associates, employees, friends, and himself to enjoy more confidence and fullness of life, he has helped thousands of people worldwide to break through their self-imposed shells of fear, doubt, and quiet desperation to a more confident, powerful, and happy life. Listen not only to what he says, but also to how he says it. Apply his examples in your own life and grow to your greater potential. And now, here's Ed Foreman.
Often after a presentation or during a break, people will come up to me and confide, "How I wish I could express myself like you do. It seems so easy for you and so difficult for me. It's like when I stand up to talk, my mind sits down to rest. My palms get sweaty, my knees start shaking, and my mind goes blank." Or they'll say something like, "I know what I want to get across, but it just doesn't come out the way I want it to." Well, frankly, public speaking, or just expressing yourself more effectively on a one-on-one basis, is not really that difficult once you understand the basics. Nothing is difficult to do if you know how to do it. Briefly, simply, and straightforwardly, I'll share with you some techniques for becoming a more effective communicator. The desire to be a good speaker is really the most important thing that is necessary to becoming a good speaker. For instance, any person slapped across the face with a rolled-up newspaper would immediately become a forceful, demonstrative, enthusiastic communicator. Such individuals would need no prompting on what words to use, proper voice inflection, appropriate gestures, sincerity, or enthusiasm. They would immediately and spontaneously speak on something about which they felt very strongly. They would forget themselves and how they might sound or look. They would express themselves with force and enthusiasm. They would become a teacher, presenting reasons for taking action or stopping action, and they would relate stories or incidents to substantiate the points covered. And herein you have the basic ingredients for making a good speech. Now, if you can be prompted to being a good speaker by physical action such as this, don't you have the abilities to be a good speaker without such treatment? Anyone can become a good speaker by learning and practicing a few simple basic techniques. Number 1, always talk about a subject with which you are familiar and have strong feelings. Number 2, relate stories and personal incidents with which your listeners can identify. Number 3, practice enthusiasm in your every word and action. Number 4, be a teacher, not a performer. Number 5, maintain good physical health. Number 6, maintain and express a positive mental attitude. Number 7, observe and learn from others. And number 8, control the outside circumstances. Now, what we'll do is go into a bit of detail to discuss these 8 steps to help you to better understand them. For instance, on number 1, in talking about a subject with which you are familiar and have strong feelings. If it were my responsibility to arrange for a positive, upbeat, self-image improvement speaker at our annual employee stockholder meeting on overcoming burnout and reigniting our excitement for life, I would probably invite Earlene Vining or Kay Kerr in preference to Fred Newman. Now, why? Fred Newman is an outstanding, successful business leader, bank president, Chamber of Commerce leader, and world traveler. Earlene Vining, on the other hand, is the Vice President and Marketing Manager of Executive Development Systems, a major personal development training organization, and she lives a life of enthusiasm and success in dealing with people. She understands our business and the challenges facing our people. She is regularly involved in teaching executives how to sell themselves and their products, how to set and achieve goals, how to replace fear and worry with happiness and success. Earlene has earned the right, lived the life, experienced the challenges, and succeeded in self-image development. And she has a useful, beneficial message for our participants on motivation and inspiration on feeling good about ourselves. On the other hand, were it my responsibility to arrange for a speaker at the Small Business Development Conference, Fred Newman would be the logical choice because he has formed, managed, and operated a variety of successful small businesses. He is an effective leader in the Chamber of Commerce and Rotary International and other civic clubs. He is a member of the Small Business Administration National Advisory Committee. Both Earlene and Fred would do outstandingly effective jobs in speaking before the selected groups on the subject assigned to them because they have earned the right to talk about their particular subjects, and they have strong feelings about their topics. They have enjoyable, meaningful, personal examples that they can share, that are their own examples that they have lived them themselves. They understand how the members of their respective audiences think and feel and can be helped by the ideas, examples, and techniques that they share with them. You can do the same thing in your field. For instance, you know a lot about the specifics of your profession, the transportation business, boat building, banking, agricultural, chemicals, manufacturing, food service, sales, real estate, investments, computers, etc. Or your hobby, such as hunting, or sailing, or soaring, or scouting, or motorcycling, or ballooning, or your favorite charity, church, or political party about which you have experiences and about which you have earned the right to talk. Through your own experiences, you have gained the knowledge that can help others to learn, expand, develop, and be better in their fields. You know, my dear mentor, the late Dr. Kenneth McFarland, relates the story in one of his great speeches about the college student who enrolled in the class Basics of Religion 103. Knowing that the same professor had taught the same class for years, he was lenient in checking class member attendance and always asked the same question for the final exam. Therefore, he attended only classes which were convenient, but carefully rehearsed and prepared for what he knew would be, as always, the one and only question on the final exam, which was, discuss the travels of the Apostle Paul. Test day arrived, all the students were in attendance, prepared to write the answer to the final question. And lo and behold, the old professor walked to the chalkboard and startled the class by writing the final test challenge. Criticize the Sermon on the Mount. Several stunned students dropped their chins, folded their papers, and left the classroom. A few stayed a while, writing hesitantly and with consternation, but one student commenced writing rapidly and continued page after page until the time for the test had expired, and he was the only one remaining. When the grades were posted, most of the students had flunked. There were some D's, a few C's, and only one B, which went to our persistent friend. Looking over his shoulder as the test papers were returned, one of his fellow students read his answer. Reflecting on your question, criticize the Sermon on the Mount. That task would much better be left to those divinity students far more qualified than I. As for me, I prefer to discuss the travels of the Apostle Paul. Talk about what you know about, and you'll never have anything to worry about. Now, on item number 2, in relating stories and personal incidents with which your listeners can identify, use your stories, your own incidents that have happened to you in your life. In fact, one of the greatest speech teachers ever, Dale Carnegie, always reminded his students that a good 30-minute talk consisted of 15 two-minute stories. People are not interested in a bunch of beautiful words, theory, or gobbledygook. They listen to, identify with, and get excited about and pay attention to stories and personal incidents. Notice that stories and personal incidents, not irrelevant, worn-out, overused jokes. People want to know about you, your challenging excitement, your successes, your heartbreaks, your triumphs and victories. Listeners like to identify with these incidents, like, yeah, one time something like that happened to me, and how do you overcome that one? And hey, that's a good idea. I can do that the next time I face a similar situation. You see, when you tell stories, people pay attention. They listen for the outcome. They follow your presentation. History's best remembered speakers were great storytellers. Jesus Christ, Socrates, Abraham Lincoln, Teddy Roosevelt, William Jennings Bryan, Mark Twain, Dale Carnegie, and Winston Churchill. Recently, in one of our successful life course classes, a student, Emery Eckel, who is president of Eckel Manufacturing Company of Odessa, Texas, an outstandingly successful oil well tool manufacturing company, confided to me prior to the class that he was not a speaker and that he could not and would not stand before the class and talk. In fact, several months earlier, when Emery had been named by community and business leaders to receive the Outstanding Businessman of the Year award presented by the Small Business Administration at the annual Business Appreciation Banquet, he had refused to make a speech of acceptance and had asked a close business friend and associate, Jay Pointer, to do the task for him. During class, Emery was asked to stand at his seat and tell the class in what way I'd like to improve myself. He stood and explained rather nervously that he'd like to gain more self-confidence in speaking before groups of other people. Later in that same class, each member was asked to stand in front of the class and relate my most outstanding accomplishment. Emery told about how many years ago, he and one of his hired hands on my casing crew, as he put it, sat in a hot, greasy, cramped little shed in West Texas oil fields and figured out a better way to build oil well casing tools to protect the pipe, reduce the time and cost of running casing, and build an adjustable, reliable casing tong that would stand up under the rough handling and demands of an oil well drilling rig. It was an exciting, heartwarming story of ups and downs, trials, failures, near bankruptcy, challenges, persistence, and success, which built one of the most highly respected, profitable oil tool manufacturing companies that now sells its products throughout the free world. Emery had just talked to 35 people about an exciting, real-life success adventure that was one of the best speeches we'd ever heard. He had told us a story about himself, something he had earned the right to talk about, an eventful human interest incident that grabbed and held the attention of everyone in that room. And that's exactly what I'm talking to you about in relating stories and personal incidents with your listeners. Now, on item number 3, practice enthusiasm in your every word and action, I remember a situation that happened about May of 1975. Our family members joined daughter Rebecca at the annual end-of-the-year W.T. White High School Band Banquet at the Marriott on Stemmons in Dallas. A dynamic young lady, Karen Gruby, president of the band club, chaired the meeting that night, and although there were several great skits and excellent musical entertainment, Karen was the moving, stimulating force of that exciting, enjoyable evening. She kept the program moving with a vibrant spirit, cheerfulness, and enthusiasm that caught on throughout the entire audience. The program was good, but it was even better because of the confident, happy, enthusiastic leadership that Karen exhibited. Enthusiasm is to a speech like carbonation is to a soft drink, like the bubbles are to champagne. Did you ever drink a soda after it had been sitting open for a while? It's about as dull and as flat as a speech without enthusiasm. You see, enthusiasm puts life, breath, and feeling into your words. If you're presenting a talk about which you are not personally sold yourself, in which you are not motivated, excited, and enthusiastic, then for goodness sakes, and for the audience's sake, and for your own sake, do not make that talk. Anything worth doing is worth doing right, and giving a speech without enthusiasm is not doing it right. In fact, I remember in one of our classes, one of our students some time ago, Pat Furby, was a kindergarten teacher from New Mexico, was speaking about the importance of enthusiasm during one of her classes, and she was telling about helping the students act out a skit. And Pat was pretending to be Christopher Columbus and was kneeling before one of the little girls who was seated on the throne as Queen Isabella. Well, Pat, with sincere feeling and deep enthusiasm, pleaded fervently with the good queen for her support and money to finance the voyage, when suddenly one little boy, caught up with the enthusiastic emotion of the moment, blurted out, "Oh my goodness, Queen, let Columbus have the money." So enthusiasm is indeed contagious. And let me tell you this, don't misunderstand me. Enthusiasm is not necessarily loudness or boisterousness. You see, enthusiasm can be soft sincerity, a powerful whisper, a sparkle in your eyes, the smile on your face, your body movement as you excitedly relate your story. Enthusiasm is contagious, and so is the lack of it. Use it, think it, believe it, and live it, and you will help others to enjoy and appreciate life a little more fully. And the next simple technique in being a good speaker is to be a teacher, not a performer. In fact, Dale Carnegie once related through one of our associates and friends, Bill Stover, a personal formula for speaking which he had learned as a boy from his own mother. He said it was a formula that she used in teaching her Sunday school class. Carnegie's mother told him, "A good speaker is but a good person speaking. Always try to say something to lift one person among your listeners a little higher. If you can send one person away a better individual, you cannot fail to make a good talk." Carnegie said, "I remind myself that never again may I have a second chance to speak to this same group. So if I have anything for any one person, I must say it now. I forget Dale Carnegie and what anyone may say or think of me, and I try to send at least one away a better person for having heard me speak." In a sense of personal integrity, I practiced my mother's early teaching. Well, in our own successful Life Course Executive Development Training Program, we train a select few of our outstandingly successful graduates to become instructors and trainers. And all of these individuals are already successful people in their own businesses or professions. We believe that you cannot effectively teach the successful life unless you have personally achieved and experienced it yourself. As these new instructors train, they are at first slightly tense and a little bit uneasy as they face their first classes. As they learn the basic curriculum, they become more positive and confident, and then temporarily they become performers. And finally, as they really begin to understand, feel, teach, tell, and sell our positive life principles, they forget the theory, the rhetoric, and performance, and become sincere, dedicated teachers. Now, when you can forget yourself, your gestures, and really become sincerely interested in helping improve the lot and life of your listeners, then you're becoming a great speaker and a good teacher. And the next technique that we talk about on this is the importance of maintaining good physical health. A sound, healthy body contributes to the vibrance, sharpness, and agility of your mind. You cannot be slovenly, sluggish, overweight, or run down physically and be your best mentally. Proper diet, regular exercise, rest, and temperance are four of the most important steps to a strong, healthy, dynamic, vibrant body. That is to eat properly. In fact, many of you who have heard me speak about this business of a strong, healthy, dynamic, vibrant body before have heard me talk about what happened in my own life a little over 10 years ago. I weighed at about 238 pounds, a 40-inch waistline. My cholesterol level was up about 237. My body fat was about 33. I didn't feel good. I didn't perform near as well as I can and do today. And so what I did, I started doing some very basic and simple things. I began to clean up my diet. For instance, I began to opt away from so much fat beef and fat pork in my diet. And whenever I have beef or pork, and I don't have that much anymore, much red meat at all, is that I have a smaller, leaner portion. I began to opt for more baked or broiled chicken or fish. And instead of having a meat dish 2 or 3 times a day, I have it at maximum only once a day. Another thing that you do is you get rid of the salt shaker and the sugar bowl, as we talked about earlier. These are 2 of the greatest junk foods on the tables of our country today. And another thing that you do is begin to drink 6 to 8 glasses of water per day. See, all of these have a cleansing effect upon you. Put more bulk in your diet, such as taking in bran flakes, such as taking in whole grain breads, such as eating oatmeal and oat bran and these type of things. Because whenever you feel good, you actually perform better. And a lot of people say, well, you know, Ed, you're getting awful personal talking to us about our personal health and sometimes about our bowel movement. And I just tell people, if you're full of waste, then you act like you're full of waste. We talk about a good, well-rounded exercise program for increased vitality, energy, and health. It includes basically 2 types of exercises. Stretching exercises help you to maintain full use of your muscles, bones, and joints and eliminate aches and pains. And, of course, sustained or aerobic exercise, such as walking or running or swimming or bicycling, such as that, improves heart action, circulation, and lung capacity. And your regular daily exercise should be a fun thing, not a drudgery. If you are walking or running, take advantage of this time to look at the trees, the flowers, the grass, the birds, and the surroundings. Notice and appreciate the beauty of nature. If you're doing stretching exercises, you can listen to a positive message cassette recording and fill your mind with positive, creative ideas and thoughts as you strengthen your body. And also, rest and relaxation are vitally important ingredients to a long, healthy, vibrant life. Mind control relaxation, the art of mentally directing your entire body's physical relaxation for short 10 to 20-minute rest periods once around noon and then maybe again late in the afternoon, contribute to alert decision-making ability and top personal performance. Don't try to rush into an important major presentation at the end of a long, tedious day. Be sure to always slow down, rest and relax for a few quiet minutes before you're to speak. And another thing, immediately prior to your speech, step backstage or otherwise off the scene for some light stretching exercises, such as to bend over and touch your toes or maybe some deep knee bends. And do a few deep breathing exercises, filling those lungs up, getting them working. It'll make you feel more relaxed and alert. Act like you feel great, and you'll begin to feel great, and it will cause your audience to feel the same way. Be sure to practice moderation in your eating before any presentation or speech. You'll be much sharper mentally and more comfortable physically if you forego the heavy banquet meal prior to your talk. Never, ever drink any alcoholic beverages prior to a speaking engagement. It dulls your wit and retards your mental dexterity. A good overall rule to follow to help you see, smell, taste the beauty and fullness of life is to refrain from the use of tobacco and alcohol. Well, if you're not going to speak, maybe a little wine or beer with your meal is all right, but do practice moderation in your eating and drinking. In fact, it was kind of interesting in talking about this the other day. I was doing a program with our friends down at Mississippi Power, and I was talking about some of these things, and so at the break, one of the plant employees came up, and he said, you've really been hitting us hard today. He said, you've got us off a hamburger and hot dogs, you've got us off of beer and whiskey, and you're making us feel bad about chewing tobacco and smoking and our snuff. He said, let me tell you something. You start bad-mouthing sex, and we're going to get up and walk out of here. And I replied to him, I said, look, there's a lot of good things that you can do in life, and there's a lot of bad things, and when you know the difference between the good and the bad, you can practice the good and do the good, and you will feel better. And that brings us in then to the next technique for presenting yourself well, and that is to maintain and express a positive mental attitude. If you expect to teach, tell, and sell the good life, you must practice it and live it yourself. No matter how great things may seem to be going with you, just with a little bit more effort, we can make our lives measurably better. If you're really interested in improving your life from the regular, routine, satisfactory, everything is pretty good, into an exciting life of joy and happiness and enthusiasm and success. If you'd like to change the monotony of your job from a get-by necessary evil into a pleasant, rewarding journey to outstanding achievement and real prosperity, then you can by a very simple and easy process, and that is following the 30-day mental diet formula that is outlined in our daily menu on how to make every day a terrific day, which is discussed in one of the other tapes in this series that you have heard me present. It's how you select each day, for instance, right when you're going to get up in the morning. First thing you do is you decide that I'm going to get up at a specific time, and you get right up then. First thing you do is you begin to put some positive input into your mind. That is by reading a good book, listening to a positive message cassette tape, or something like that. Now, once you get that mind programmed for that automatic pilot seeking of the destination to which you're going, then what you do is you slip on the comfortable clothes, you go out for a little walk, you watch the world begin to wake up to a new day, and you go through the basics of what we talk about on how to make every day a good day. Now, also as you speak, and as you think and express yourself, do it only in hopeful, enthusiastic ideas. Become a possibility thinker and a can-do achiever. It will become natural to you to expect the good, the positive, and the beautiful in life. You'll automatically find enthusiasm and happiness and relaxation in yourself. And how great it is. It takes so little effort and yet returns such magnificent benefits. You'll add years to your life and life to your years as you do it. And remember, life really is truly great and wonderful. Life is in the living of every day to the fullest, the happiest, most successful. So don't put off living. Don't put off loving and giving and appreciating. Life is too short to be little. Be big, be happy, be enthusiastic, and especially be thankful and grateful. Expect the very best out of life, and you will receive blessings and rewards beyond your fondest dreams. And whenever you do that, it becomes a contagion that other people want to catch from you. Now, the next step on the techniques for expressing yourself well is to observe and learn from other people. If you'll learn from every person you meet, you will become a better person yourself. If you really look and listen, you can learn. When you're not too busy speaking yourself, if you'll attend meetings and conferences and sales rallies and conventions in or near your city, go to the graduation ceremonies at your local high school or college, listen to outstanding students, speakers, program chairmen, and others, attend civic club luncheons, Chamber of Commerce meetings, and community functions. Speak when you have the opportunity to do so. Evaluate yourself, live, learn, and improve. And another thing that's good, when you go to a political meeting or any other kind of gathering, even if you're not the speaker, stand up and ask good leading questions to help the speaker that's there and to help you feel comfortable at expressing yourself. You upgrade your thinking by feeding your mind properly, and you'll never have to worry about feeding your stomach or worry about what you are going to wear, or the home you'll live in, or the automobile that you'll drive, or whether or not you'll enjoy happiness and success. An easy, enjoyable way to get more out of life, also in addition to reading good books, is to listen to the greatest educational, motivational, easy-to-use, results-oriented training aid available today, just what you're doing right now, the portable cassette player. With this inexpensive, tremendously useful instrument, you're finding that you're turning your automobile into a mobile classroom. A positive, motivational, humorous, educational message will speed up your housework or routine tasks and remove much of the drudgery. You can be inspired, educated, and uplifted while exercising, bathing, shaving, dressing. It's an exciting, enjoyable way to get the mental and emotional lead in today's competitive world. And you know, in talking about listening and reading, a great habit is to develop the habit of reading from inspirational self-help books, the very first thing when you awaken every morning. And some of the great books that I've talked about, and you've heard me talk about before, outside the Bible and my way of thinking, one of the greatest books that's ever been written on positive thinking and good living is Think and Grow Rich by Napoleon Hill. Another good one is Psycho-Cybernetics by Maxwell Maltz, How to Win Friends and Influence People by Dale Carnegie, The Power of Positive Thinking by Norman Vincent Peale, The Power of Your Subconscious Mind by Joe Murphy, You Can If You Think You Can by Peale, How to Stop Worrying and Start Living by Dale Carnegie. Bernie Siegel has a great good book that is one of the best that I've read recently, and it's called Love, Medicine, and Miracles. And in that book, Dr. Bernie Siegel, who is an oncologist, an outstanding cancer surgeon, says that how you think, how you feed your mind, has a definite effect upon your physical well-being. And we found that in our own medical research and studies. Dr. Dale Rank, who has performed over 10,000 operations, says, Ed, there's not a day that goes by that I don't hear someone being admitted to the cardiac unit that doesn't say, I just knew I was going to come down with a heart attack like my daddy did, or I was going to come down with bleeding ulcers like my mama did. In fact, you know, one of the things that Dr. Siegel says, it's more important to know what kind of a person has a disease than to know what kind of disease a person has. Because if you're a positive, enthusiastic, upbeat person, number one, you're less likely to get the disease. And if you do get disease, you're more apt to overcome it. In fact, we are finding that sickly parents have sickly children. Uptight, frustrated, griping parents have uptight, frustrated children. So begin to feed your mind with good ideas. And as you pump those ideas in there, you think good thoughts. And as you think good thoughts, you begin to feel better about yourselves. Now, you may have had a bit of wonderment whenever I talked about the last technique on successful presentations. And that technique was where I mentioned controlling the outside circumstances. And people say, what do you mean by controlling the outside circumstances? Well, what I mean is that you take precautions on the situations which you can control by taking early action at the place where you're going to speak. That can greatly improve your chances for success as a speaker or presenter and help your audience's reception and appreciation of the message that you deliver. For instance, arrange for a room with a seating capacity to fit your expected audience. Don't ever get a 2,000-seat auditorium for an expected crowd of 600 people. It would be far wiser to get a room to seat 500 if you're expecting 600, and then be prepared to set up extra chairs at the last minute if needed. That starts your meeting off with the look of success. A standing room only crowd responds better to a speaker than one loosely scattered over a half-filled auditorium. Another thing that you can do is to see that the thermostat is adjusted so that the room temperature will be held at a constant 68, maximum 70 degrees. Any colder is uncomfortable, and only 4 degrees warmer means that at least half of your audience will start getting glassy-eyed and drifting off to sleep. So keep them cool, alive, and alert. Another thing I'd suggest to you is where you can post no smoking signs and ask the program chairman to remind the audience of this fire precaution. If you are unable to prevent smoking, then divide the room into two areas, smoking and no smoking, and put the smoking as far away from the podium as you can toward the rear and back side of the room. Get to your meeting room early is another good thing that you can do to check out the microphone carefully and completely. Be sure to check out the lights to be sure that you'll have sufficient light to look into the eyes of your audience and that they can look into your eyes to ensure maximum, meaningful two-way communications. And don't ever wear shaded glasses. Be sure that you can see the audience and the audience can see you, and you'll have a lot better communication because they can see that feeling in your eyes. Another thing that I recommend is that you always carry an extra short, simple, easy-to-read, double-spaced introduction of yourself to slip to the forgetful program chairman who at the last minute remembers that he forgot your introduction. Basically, what I'm talking to you about are some very simple techniques that if you put them to work in your own life, that is, talk about a subject with which you're familiar and you really can get excited about. That is, to relate your own personal stories, not to try to sell somebody else's stories or incidents or worn jokes. If you'll practice enthusiasm in your every word and action, if you'll learn to be a teacher, to help people, not to be a performer, to maintain good physical health, that you feel alive and vibrant, you'll maintain and express a positive mental attitude, you'll always observe and learn from other people, and control those controllable circumstances, you can and you will be an effective presenter, and you will stand up, speak out, and win in every situation that you face. If after listening to these suggestions on how to gain confidence and overcome the fear of public speaking, you find they've been helpful and enjoyable to you, we'll review the practical application of these ideas. You'll hear excerpts from our interview with Morley Safer on CBS News 60 Minutes, a question and answer call-in session with Paul Osborne on KVIL Radio, Dallas-Fort Worth, and a fun and educational interview and discussion between Nick Carter of Nightingale Conant of Chicago, my associate Earlene Vining, and me. Plus, you'll get some additional good ideas on happier, more successful, worry-free living. Thanks for listening.
I'm Mike Wallace.
I'm Morley Safer. I'm Dan Rather.
I'm Harry Reasoner. Those stories and more tonight on 60 Minutes.
Industrial giants are making Dallas their corporate hometown. Put that mixture of enthusiasm and cash together, and you've got success.
The good Lord made the Cadillacs and the Lincolns and the Mercedes and the gold and the diamonds for his followers, not for the sinners.
I always thought the meek was supposed to inherit the earth.
Well, the meek may inherit it, but they're going to have to work like the devil to get title to it.
It's probably not often that anyone interviewed on CBS News 60 Minutes would want to re-listen to the program, much less record it for others to review as a positive learning example. Yet that's what we're doing for you right now. Most individuals, company representatives, office holders, public relations people, folks like you and me, would quake in their boots if they knew the 60 Minutes team of investigative reporters were coming to do a feature on them. Fear is the first emotion that most people would experience and would probably build upon it until it became all-consuming. First, to overcome fear of this sort, from a notice by 60 Minutes, the IRS, your head office, the electorate, or any inquiry or investigation, do your job, conduct your activities in a manner that you can withstand review and scrutiny. And if by chance or accident you have a difficulty or challenge, be prepared to stand up forcefully to explain and or defend yourself. Never try to deceive them or run away from it. Even if a mistake has been made, an error committed, admit it, correct it, and move ahead. You'll be much better off and respected in the long run. If you've made no error, yet there may be a question or difference of opinion about you or your activities, just as previously discussed, stand up with commitment and conviction and state your position. That's exactly what we did on CBS News 60 Minutes interview. We know now and knew then that what we were doing is helping people all over the world to discover their hidden potential and become the better self that they have within them the capability of becoming. That by their improved thoughts and directed actions, they can develop winning, victorious habits that will improve their physical, mental, and emotional health. Habits that will open up a newness and fullness of life heretofore unknown to them. Therefore, we agreed to the interview, if, as earlier stated, they would attend and experience our 3-day Successful Life course. Not just read about it, but actually attend. Further, I personally decided that I would not be intimidated by the 60 Minutes program, Morley Safer, or any of their team. I would discuss our activities, answer questions, and encourage them and their viewers to decide for themselves whether or not this proven life-expanding program works. Well, the returns are in, and are they encouraging? As a result of the interview shown nationwide to an estimated viewing audience of over 50 million people, and by satellite around the world, we have now had participants from 17 free world countries, company leaders and country officials. We've expanded our customer base to many of the Fortune 500 companies, and many more medical professionals and hospital groups are now cooperating with us in our research and applied mind-body relationships for expanded personal health and improved longevity. We've been invited to present programs in Australia, New Zealand, Southeast Asia, Canada, Central and South America, England, and several countries in Europe. And our program has expanded and improved in every dimension. Do what you believe in with confidence and power and watch it grow. Because these excerpts of the program are taken from the television presentation, the sound quality will vary some. That is, while Morley Safer is talking, related activities are being shown in the background.
One additional footnote that Ed did not mention. When the 60 Minutes team came in to do the filming of the class excerpt that you'll hear in this recording, Ed had an inflamed throat and a 103-degree temperature. But being the pro he is, he went on with the session, even though his voice was under a great deal of strain, through which Ed demonstrates another valuable lesson.
If you do want to be JR, it's not because he may be the meanest man in the world. It's because he's so rich and successful and does not let anything stand in the way of whatever it is he wants. You may not be surprised to learn that there's a multi-million-dollar industry that may not promise to turn you into JR, but does say it can make you a richer, better, happier person who will have nothing less than a terrific day every day for the rest of your life. Nowhere is the success business thriving more than it is in Dallas. You don't have to be JR to make it big in Big D.
From now on, every time anybody comes up to you and says, "Good morning, how are you?" you're going to answer with one single word, and the word is terrific. Good morning, group, how are you?
This is a seminar in Dallas. People learning to wipe out such tepid words as fine, okay, and pretty good from their vocabularies. With enthusiasm, they are being told that enthusiasm is the essential ingredient of success. And Dallas seems so appropriate. It's not just that the Ewings chose this place from which to claw their way to the top. It's not just that this city booms while others burn. There is definitely something in the air that makes success more important than it is elsewhere. It would be overstating to say Dallas is crazed with passion for itself and success, but overstating is legal in Dallas. No place is as good as they tell you this place is, but people here have that crapshooter's confidence that everything always comes up roses. The enthusiasm, for example, of a Sherwood Blunt, one of Dallas's many baby-faced millionaires.
Let's be candid. There are a number of 30-year-old young men in this city and around the country and throughout the world who have had the same opportunities, the same educational background, if you will, that I have had. I just happen to be fortunate enough. The good Lord just happened to bless me enough to see to it that I was born in Dallas, Texas.
Those not thus blessed are moving there. Industrial giants are making Dallas their corporate hometown. Put that mixture of enthusiasm and cash together, and you've got success. Not only success as the pinnacle of achievement, but success as a commodity, like cattle or soybeans or oil. Some might say like snake oil. Dallas has become the Dallas for the men who will tell you follow their way, take their course, listen to their cassettes, and life will be terrific. And that's terrific with a capital T. Men like Zig Ziglar, the very model of a modern self-improvement man.
Said if you want to change your life, you must do it immediately with flamboyance. And when you start telling people you're doing super good, but you'll get better, I'll tell you, it makes a difference.
Or a man like Ed Foreman, who will, he claims, open the poor, bedraggled, worn-out person you are on the outside and release the solid gold possible you that you've been hiding.
Now, we want to know before we leave here, how are we going to enjoy a happy, enjoyable, terrific, dynamic, vibrant day every day?
And both Zig and Ed can prove to you just how successful they've been at this game. They've both become millionaires at the business of selling success here in Dallas.
It doesn't matter whether it's in Dallas, Texas, or whether it's in Boston, Massachusetts. Those folks in Boston and those folks in Philadelphia and those folks in New York need this worse than the folks in Dallas and Houston do. It's just easier to get it across to the folks in Dallas and Houston because they're already halfway there. The others are so reserved or sort of held back. Well, I shouldn't laugh. It might make my face crack, you know. Oh, I shouldn't do that. You're supposed to worry. That's a part of what life is all about. Baloney. It's you and you alone that decides every day whether it's going to be a good day or a bad day.
Ed Foreman in person will teach you in a 3-day seminar how to stop being a frightened little church mouse and how to start being super mouse.
Remember this, that life is for laughing, loving, and living. It ain't for whining, worrying, or working.
Aren't you really just stating the obvious?
Well, it might...
simple little homilies to people.
Well, it might be the obvious, but very few people, in fact, in life practice it. For instance, whenever we talk about how to have a good day every day, the majority of people, by habit, practice having a bad day.
A positive mental attitude and action, plus a specific identifiable written goal, equals supper on the table. Equals health, wealth, and happiness.
Among Ed's prize graduates is Paul Yarborough, who's gone all the way to the top and over the top in Dallas. It was merely a question of setting goals. What sort of goals? I mean, was the goal to make $1 million?
My first goal was to be a successful businessman. And after my Air Force tour, we started business. And my first goal then became monetary. You know, it takes money to grow. So I made a go. Within a year, I'd reached that goal. And I said, that was easy. So my next goal, and it had to be monetary, was to make $100,000. And the business prospered. Well, pretty soon I reached that goal of $100,000. The next goal was $1 million. I mean, let's face it, everybody wants to be a millionaire, you know. I achieved that goal. And so I've got some big goals, you know. I started 4 more businesses, and those businesses today, this year past, we did over $50 million in 7 short years.
Ed, you're very convincing. You're very smooth. It all comes out in a nice, enthusiastic pattern.
Because it works.
Well, hold on a minute. Aren't you in the great, rich American tradition of medicine man, of snake oil salesman?
Well, a lot of people have tongue-in-cheek referred to things like that. But what it is...
I say it without tongue-in-cheek.
You can call it snake oil, you can call it psychology, you can call it whatever it wants to, but it works. And that's the good thing about it.
But are you saying that it wouldn't have worked without you?
I'm saying it wasn't working with them, and it didn't work with a lot of others until and whether it's me or somebody else, to come along and give them the stimulus to make it work, to get them fired off of the launching pad. Some people go all through life and die with their song still in them. We show them how to sing.
Remember, these are not simple-minded people. They are young executive types. And no matter what they end up doing, what Ed Foreman is teaching them is how to sell themselves. He conditions them.
Good morning, group. How are ya?
No matter how rejecting the world may be, your response is... For others, life may seem cruel and unfair. But for you, life is... Do you ever have a bad day?
Oh, the worst day I ever have, Morley, is a semi-terrific day.
Ed, have a terrific day.
Well, there you have it. A potentially fearful situation turned into a positive result. So the lesson is, look for the best in everything that happens, even when CBS News 60 Minutes comes calling on you. Another example you'd probably be interested in that occurs in virtually every city in America is the radio or television talk show that provides an outstanding forum for you to communicate your ideas, talk about your civic organization, your company, political candidate, your book, yourself, etc. A terrific local radio station here in Dallas, KVIL, AM and FM, with an unusually large listening audience, recently invited us to be their guest. You'll enjoy the flow and perhaps even the questions and answers in this communication example.
KVIL. Good morning and welcome once again to Paul Osborne's Spare Change, a program designed to get your ideas off dead center and prompt you to put them into action. Spare Change is a live call-in program and you're invited to participate. If you want to jump in, here's the number, 787-1037 from anywhere in the Dallas-Fort Worth area. Here it is again, 787-1037. And now here's Paul.
And good morning. My name is Paul Osborne. We're with you live this Sunday, October 12th, and boy, do we have a terrific guest for you. Ed Foreman, good morning.
Good morning, Paul. It's a pleasure to be here with you this morning.
It is great. You know, I've tried for 4 years to get you on, and you were so busy that I'm so happy we snuck a Sunday away from you.
Well, it's an exciting, good day. Wasn't it nice and crisp this morning to get out there and get with it?
Absolutely fabulous. I guess summer's over now, and we can enjoy it.
Good.
Listen, tell me what you tell people when they come up to you at a cocktail party or a dinner party and say, what do you do for a living, Ed?
Help people become happy, healthy, and terrific. Our business is in the art of being happy, staying healthy, and feeling terrific. And so what we do is show people how they hold the option every day as to whether they're going to have a good day or whether they're going to have a bad day. It's up to them, and then we go through the little pattern of the daily menu on how to have a good day.
Really?
Okay.
Now, the name of your company is Executive Development Systems. Is that correct?
Executive Development Systems, okay. And we have about 14 principal associates that are with us out there, not the least of which is one of our founding starters, Earlene Vining, our good friend Kay Kerr, Linda Barrett, Philip Heddick, who is in charge of our finances. We got a tremendous crew, and in fact, 7 medical doctors who are on our staff who work with us on good physical, mental, and emotional conditioning.
All right, now we're going back to the phone lines. KVIL Spare Change. Good morning. You're on the air.
I got a question. You were talking about the salesman that always had the positive attitude and expected to get the sales. What happens when he doesn't get the sales?
Well, then what happens is he says, I did not explain to that potential client the benefits appropriately to help them understand why they got it. So therefore, I'm going to have to get better at explaining these benefits so that people will take advantage of the product or service or idea that I have. If we get down in our attitude, if we get uptight and say, oh my gosh, people don't like me, people don't like my product, then we ought to get out of the business. The interesting thing about it is, particularly with salespeople, I say to them, is that when you embed this completely into your subconscious mind, that is that you treat your wife and family the same way you treat potential customers. That is, you treat the parking lot attendant the same way you treat the president of the company you want to sell to. Then you begin to feel this way, and people will want to buy from you. So it's getting it embedded into you. I'm not saying that you're not going to have some ups and downs, but I am finding this, that when you practice this, your downs become higher and your ups become a lot higher. Listen to positive records, listen to good, happy tunes, and the more you practice it, the more you get it into your subconscious mind, the more you just roll with a punch. It's like a football player. If a football player starts running toward the goal and he gets tackled 10 yards down the line, he doesn't get up and say, oh my Lord, I can't make a touchdown, and quit. What he does, he goes back into the huddle and says, okay, baby, let's figure out another way. And then he comes with a pass or another player down the center, and he keeps on hitting that line until he finally gets that booger across the goal line. And that's exactly the way with a salesman, a manager, a mother, a father, anybody else.
Would you say the same thing to somebody that's hitting them, Ed? Some guy that goes in and he's selling all the time, he really doesn't know what he's doing. He's just hitting them all the time. Should he sit down and study what he's doing so he'll have a grasp of it, or should he just keep on going?
Listen, if you're doing good, baby, you're doing what's right. Yeah. So sometimes I think that we get to telling people more than they want to know, and I sure don't like to do that here this morning. I hope we're not doing it. That's why I like to go to the phone line. No, sometimes you can know too much.
All right, very good. Back to the phones. KVIL Spare Change. Good morning. You're on the air.
Yes, I have a question. Most of your talking is towards people that, you're on the job and you're boosting their morale on the job. How about a comment to all of us out here that are unemployed, and things look bleak, and where do we start to pull up and begin a positive thought?
That's a very appropriate question, and thanks for bringing it up. And whenever I say on the job, I'm really talking about on the job of life, is that if you are unemployed, one of the greatest things that you can do if you desire to be employed is to begin to practice this daily menu that I'm talking about. Begin to get that good, wholesome, positive spirit about yourself so that whenever you go into a prospective employer, that they say, my gosh, here is a live wire we ought to have in this organization. For instance, so many times I say to young people, and I'll also say it to the unemployed, look around and think, see, this unemployment, and I've been unemployed myself a few times, and I know the challenging anxiety that you go through, is back up and let that be a time for you to say to yourself, all right, now, I'm unemployed right now, so I can start over again. I can do whatever I want to. So back away and say, what would if I could pick out anything in the world to do, what would I do? Then if it's to be employed with some major organization or maybe some small organization within your city or to get into business for yourself, decide what it is that you would really like to do. Now, if it's with an organization that's already operating, then study that organization as best you can. Find out what they do, how they do it, and then see what could I do to help them do what they do better. How could I help them be more profitable? How could I help them succeed? Then when you go in to talk to them, make them a proposition. I'll tell you right now that all you got to do is you just put me on your rolls as an employee. And if at the end of 3 months or 6 months, I'm not making you far more money than I'm costing you, if I'm not being a tremendous additive spirit to your team, then no questions asked, I'll leave. I can tell you this, I will gladly put people on my staff who will offer to do that kind of thing, whether it's in the ready-mix concrete business, whether it's in our oil and gas development business or anything else. If they can show me a plan how they can help me make more profits, I want them with me. And that kind of attitude helps you to be a saleable commodity out there in the job market.
All right, very good. Next question. KBIL's Fair Change, you're on the air.
Oh, I have a question. Earlier on, you had an exercise to imagine your lifelong goal and the things that you really want. And I wonder if you could give some suggestions on how to set goals. I think I have a problem, and I've talked to other people who have a problem in deciding how to set goals.
That is not uncommon with many people that we deal with. They say, well, I'm going along pretty good. I'm feeling pretty good. How do I have more goals? Well, for instance, I say to people, do you weigh right now what you would weigh if you could weigh your ideal body weight and you could be your ideal size? Now, if the answer is no, then you write down, okay, I see myself enjoying my ideal body weight of so many pounds. I see myself enjoying my ideal waist size of so many inches. For instance, do you drive the automobile that you would drive if you could drive any automobile in the world? If not, you say, okay, I see myself enjoying this automobile. Do you live in the home that you would live in if you could live in any home in the world? If not, I see myself living in this home, in this community, doing this job. For instance, do you enjoy the relationship with your husband or wife or son or daughter or sweetheart that you would enjoy if you could enjoy the most ideal relationship? If not, write out briefly and specifically exactly the kind of relationship you would like. Now then, if that doesn't get you prompted to writing some goals, then what you can do is come around it from the side door or the back door, so to speak. Write down what you don't want. Say, well, I don't want this to happen. I don't want this to happen. Then say, okay, if I don't want that to happen, what do I do want to happen then that will be the alternative of this? And whenever you do that, then you begin to program yourself toward what you want to happen.
All right, very good. More information from Ed Foreman is available so that we can get pamphlets and find out more about what you're doing.
You can write to Executive Development Systems, and we'll be happy to send you a daily menu or information on the programs or our cassettes or whatever.
Super, and I'm going to sign you up for another session with me here on Spare Change after the first of the year. Can we do it?
Terrific, Paul.
Okay.
I look forward to it.
Thank you, Ed.
These excerpts from an hour-long program are an example of how you can do a community service while at the same time gaining favorable attention for your own interests. Take advantage of these opportunities in your community. You know, being a better communicator comes with practice. By using all of the opportunities previously suggested and cooperating with your friends and business associates and sharing ideas with them on an exchange basis. Regularly, leading speakers, trainers, and seminar directors get together at the National Speakers Association winter workshops and annual summer convention to do this. The National Speakers Association is a great organization of caring, sharing, loving people from all over the United States and several foreign countries. Some of the members are only occasional speakers. Others are regular platform professionals. It's a great forum. If you'd like more information about NSA, call us or drop us a note and we'll get a packet of information to you about it. At a recent National Speakers Association gathering, my associate Earlene Vining and I were asked, after our program presentation, to do an interview with an outstanding NSA leader, Nick Carter, of the famed Nightingale Conant Corporation, the world premier audio cassette producers from Chicago. These excerpts from this fast-moving, fun interview give you an insight into how to roll with the punches and go with the flow, where three speakers all seem to be wanting to talk at the same time. Let's try to slide in between the words, if that's possible.
The two of you are in a very, very interesting business in the world, and you actually live what you're saying in your seminars. I've got to tell you this. When I first saw both of you, I said, come off it. Nobody's that enthusiastic every day. That is so phony what you two are doing.
Really?
Yeah, I did. I said, nobody could be that up like you guys are all the time. And as I've gotten to know you, as we've developed the products with Nightingale Conant with you both, I suddenly one day realized, I said, they're not kidding. Mm-hmm. They are not kidding.
The interesting thing about it, Nick,
and I've just come around to a complete wanting to do like you do.
Another converted.
Yes.
Yeah. Praise the Lord. Another soul has been saved. Well, what happens is, people say, well, do you think enthusiasm, do you think this positive attitude thinking works all the time? It works better for me than negative thinking. And people say, well, supposing you just lost your job, would you be positive? I said, only if you want to get another job. Supposing you just gotten a divorce, I suppose you'd be positive only if you wanted reconciliation or you wanted to get married again. See, positive thinking and enthusiasm and happiness and vibrance and vitality of life only works when you want to succeed. And I'm not just talking about material wealth. See, the one thing about it that shows up with us a lot, and I know we're a little bit sort of showy in some of the things that we do.
In a very good way, in my opinion. Really, just I love to see you both work because it picks you up.
One of the things I think that has contributed to our success and the reason why people not only, I think, learn from our sharing is that they in the end also like us. And the reason why I think we've enjoyed a certain amount of popularity on the platform is because the stories and the principles that we've shared in our Successful Life course, our 3-day classes, and from the 1-hour platform speeches, all come from our personal experiences, personal lessons.
You have actually experienced it, so you know it's accurate.
Yes.
You can't
For example, back in the, excuse me.
That's right. You can't teach where you ain't been. You can't teach what you don't practice.
Let me just interject here one thing, and that is everything you're saying. See, this is voice of experience for speakers. So it's doubly important what you say for speakers, because if you think you can get away as a speaker with coming up with a lackluster performance because you got a bad deal at home or something or at the office, hey, you ain't going to be on the circuit very long. So I think what you're both bringing out here about up attitude and control your thinking, your feeling, which will be reflected in your expression, in the tone of your voice, is extremely important for anybody that's in the speaking profession.
And it's interesting, like Dr. Ken McFarland used to say, he said, you cannot be a dissipator in life and be a teacher of an enthusiastic, happy life. He didn't use those words. He should have probably used those words.
But they're better than
But basically, what we're saying is that you cannot stay up and carouse at night and be an enthusiastic, dynamic seminar leader the next morning. Mm-hmm. If you want to be enthusiastic, those eyes have got to be bright. That skin has got to be clean. You've got to be, they must see. Actually, what you say is a small part, as you know. What you say is a small part of the message you get across. People observe how you live, how you look, how you respond to everything that goes on. And I think that is what every professional speaker, every professional individual, if you're not living, I say, for instance, if you're wanting to improve your health, don't go to an unhealthy doctor. If you want to get slim, don't go to a fat doctor. So what happens is that you go to the kind of people who live and emulate the kind of things that you would like to have.
Let me shift, if I may, to a little different area of emphasis, which is what we're trying to do with Voice of Experience, which is help people as much, including ourselves, just by reviewing ideas like you're presenting here today, in the actual art of presenting. Now, when you go to do your programs, are they programs that are set, or do you ever do special speeches to meet specific needs of a specific audience?
Oh, we do a variety of programs. Now, we have a regularly scheduled 3-day Successful Life course.
How many
program.
times a year do you do that?
We do that approximately 24 times a year by schedule.
So that's 75 days a year.
Yes, sir.
That go into the Successful Life course. Now, this is powerful stuff, and what we've got here are a number of programs that you repeat over and over again. One question has to be asked you as speakers, as presenters, as idea merchants bringing ideas to people. How do you keep the spirit up, keep the quality of the first time, keep the spontaneity of your presentations up? Because you do it over. Isn't there a fear sometimes, or a tendency to say the same old routine over and over again?
Never ever, because the program is always evolving and you always get different people. You're watching people grow. And if you would have been through the program,
so you're on fire. You're on fire.
If you would have gone through the program,
and that comes out
4 years ago.
Also, we work hard. We do a lot of diverse things in the 3-day class that he's talking about. For example, we do a lot of fun skits, and you mentioned
I've seen that.
the
I saw that in
nerds, and we do the monkey on the back, and
the Mad Wife.
I've got the Mad Wife. I've got to say, when I first saw that, and I mentioned to you, I remember coming up to you and saying I had no idea the professionalism that you bring to that, because if you didn't do that just right, if the timing and the spontaneity and the way you bounce off each other so easily, it would come off flat.
Yeah.
Yours comes off like a Broadway show, in my opinion, which kept everybody in stitches and at the same time kept everybody riveted to what you were doing.
I think the thing that makes some of those scenes, for instance, the Mad Wife surreal, is that Earlene does not do a part in a presentation of a speech. She puts herself psychologically into a condition of anger, and she throws all of her ill feelings for the past few days into that demonstration at that very moment.
You know what that is? That's Stanislavski acting. That's really feeling the part.
So that she is not Earlene Vining at that time presenting to a group. She is that person playing that role in that particular situation. And we have a lot of people who have come through our program that come through on an annual basis. They come through and they come through again. And they say, well, I didn't realize you had that. Actually, we didn't have it. Well, there are many things that are involving. We're learning more in the health field every day.
Even though we do these
Just butt in anytime you want to there, Earlene, if you feel.
You're going to have to be strong. This guy gets on a roll, and baby,
equal time, please. One of the things that makes it a lot of fun is that even though we do the skits in every one of the classes, we're always working to do some little surprise things in our interaction.
Oh, you are? You're always working on new vignettes?
Oh, yes.
And that must be fun. That must be fun. And you're probably
some of them are more fun than others.
Yes, I'm sure.
For example, in Canada recently, I asked the chef there to do a special pie, and the audience just loved it.
And even it was
a surprise. His red ears, he was so angry. His instant emotion was anger, of course, because he was totally unsuspecting.
You hit him in the face with a pie?
Oh, absolutely.
And even though it's the old cornball stuff of 30 years ago, and in the Mad Wife skit, she has a variety of things, but the thing about it was that old sugary cream sticky stuff, and it hit me, and it actually stuck between my glasses and my eyes, and then began to run down into my shirt, and got clear on down into my shorts. Now, it takes a wonderful person like me to put up with that kind of surprise in a program. And people say, boy, you must really be good to do that every time. We don't do it every time. We just done that one time, and I don't believe, I trust that it will never be done again. But there are many exciting, enjoyable things that are done, and so it makes it exciting.
And there you have it. Life is exciting when you make it exciting. Doing what you enjoy doing will help you to live a longer, happier, healthier life. Thank you for your interest and your friendship. Keep smiling and stay happy, healthy, and terrific. for things to like about life and the people I meet. I enjoy life more each day. I look for and expect good things to happen to and for me. People are increasingly thoughtful, considerate, and kind to me, and I am thoughtful, kind, and considerate to others. I have a good feeling about life, myself, and others. Things go well for me. I think well on my feet. I'm alert, alive, and vibrant. I have a positive mental attitude about everything, every situation, and everybody every day. Although at times challenges or difficulties may arise, I conquer them with my confident, positive, constructive approach and calmness. I can do all things through God who strengthens me. I recognize and appreciate the many blessings I receive, and I regularly give thanks for the good life I enjoy. I appreciate and enjoy the opportunity to learn, to grow, and experience new ideas. I am open to new ways of doing things. I learn from every experience. I review the experiences of life for lessons learned that I may grow and share. I recognize that as I learn, I elevate my awareness, my appreciation for life, and I prepare myself for an improved standard of living, a happy, confident life of continued growth, success, and prosperity. I am thankful for my business associates, my friends, and all my family members. Although at times we may have our differences, I appreciate them and love them and desire good things for them. I look for the best in every person I meet, even my opponents in the competitive situations of everyday life. I recognize that I may be the only happy, cheerful, helpful booster that some people may encounter today. They will feel better as a result of our meeting, even if we meet for only a fleeting moment. They will feel better as a result, and so will I. Because of my constructive, positive, cooperative spirit, I help my associates to feel better about themselves, about their life and me. I lift the spirits of my friends and family, and therefore their happier spirits make my life more enjoyable. People like to see me because they know I always have a cheerful greeting, a pleasant smile, an encouraging word. Life reflects back to me what I send out, and it multiplies. I send out much happiness and receive an abundance of love, appreciation, encouragement, and support. I overcome fear with confidence. I recognize that assertive, constructive action in the direction of my desired objectives melts away doubt and anxiety and strengthens me physically, mentally, and emotionally. I am sincere. I earnestly express myself with conviction and feeling. I am knowledgeable about the subject I talk about. I understand and I help others to understand. I appreciate the privilege of speaking. By doing an excellent presentation, I express sincere appreciation to my audience. I love my audience. I care for each of them lovingly. I am caring, loving, considerate, and confident in transmitting my message to them. I practice good human relations principles in dealing with others and in speaking to each member of my audience. I know my subject well, and I know my audience well, and I believe in my message, and I deliver my message clearly, positively, and constructively in a manner that is welcomed and appreciated by my listeners. I sparkle, and I make my presentation sparkle by sharing useful, humorous stories and examples. I smile and laugh and cry and feel the emotions of my words and expressions. I speak distinctly, clearly, and loudly enough to be heard by every person in the audience. My gestures are comfortable and natural. I speak within the allotted time frame for my presentation. I speak at a comfortable pace, not too fast and not too slow. I vary the speed of my presentation for emphasis, just as I do in expressive conversation. I enjoy mental exchanges with my listeners and prompt their alertness by my questions to them. I use proper, correct grammar, except when I may occasionally vary to make a special point or direct attention. My body is very important to me. I take good care of it, just as I would any of my valuable possessions. I eat responsibly. I say no thank you to excesses of fat, cholesterol, fried foods, salt, and sugar. I would never knowingly feed bowls of fat, sugar, salt, or other harmful foods, alcohol, tobacco, or drugs to my pet. I take equally good care of my body. I eat right, and I eat light every day. I enjoy drinking at least 6 glasses of good, clean, clear water every day. If I become hungry between meals and a glass of water does not satisfy that hunger feeling, I eat a piece of fruit, an apple, banana, orange, or some melon. I practice positive, healthful eating awareness. I eat when I am hungry. I stop eating when I feel good and energetic. I enjoy eating raw or steamed vegetables, whole grain bread, cereals, fruit, and only small amounts of baked or broiled chicken, fish, or lean meat. I find it easy to limit fat and cholesterol in my eating. If I have the urge for a second helping, I delay that urge for 5 minutes. I find this practice to be beneficial exercise for any addictions with which I may be confronted, such as smoking or drinking coffee. I truly enjoy good, clean, clear water much better than sugary soft drinks or coffee. I would never wash the outside of my body or my car with a bucket of sugary soft drinks, coffee, or liquor, and therefore I have no desire to put these contaminants on the inside of my body. I recognize the heartbreaking end results and stupidity of using marijuana, cocaine, crack, and other harmful drugs. I think more of my mind, body, friends, family, and future than to use or even experiment with these life-destroying poisons. My friends are intelligent enough to understand the importance of taking care of their minds and bodies. And although we may offer recovery help to those who may experiment with drugs, we will
I successfully sell my ideas, my services, and myself. I am confident. I express myself confidently, positively, and enthusiastically. I look directly into the eyes of others when I communicate. I smile. I laugh. I respect others. I refer to my spouse, employer, employees, customers, and listeners respectfully. I am respected and appreciated. I feel good about myself. I enjoy life fully and completely. I look and truly observe the magnificence and beauty of the sunrise and the sunset, the sky, the clouds, the mountains, the streams and lakes. I listen and I hear the believe in myself and my intuition. I let no one or no thing take my power from me. I recognize that no one likes a moody person who pouts, complains, or whines. I am above that kind of immature, self-destructive behavior. I dwell on the future rather than the past. I set goals and accomplish them. I do what needs to be done when it needs to be done. I put the best connotation on everything and every person. I expect things to work out successfully and right, and they do. I feel good about myself and my life. I sleep comfortably, peacefully, and soundly every night. I rest, relax, and re-energize. I awaken early each morning, cheerful and enthusiastic about the new day. I get up out of bed immediately. I read or listen to a positive, uplifting message such as this tape. With a happy, nourished mind, I enjoy going out into the freshness of the morning, exercising and filling my lungs with good, clean, clear, oxygen-filled air. I enjoy looking my best each day. I am a leader. I am neat, clean, and well-groomed. I nourish my mind and body properly. I choose and therefore enjoy a terrific day every day. I feel, act, and look confident. Each day I take time out for quiet relaxation, for silence. I enjoy silence. I connect and identify with nature. At least once each day I find a quiet place to practice mind-controlled relaxation, even if only for 5 minutes. 20 minutes is better. I relax from the tip of my toes to the top of my head. I let go of stress, anxiety, and frustration, and I replenish myself with energy, vibrance, and vitality. I concentrate on the wholesome, positive, and pure. I hold a vivid image in my mind of the better self that I am becoming physically, mentally, and emotionally. I have a worthy purpose in my life. I think successfully. I act successfully. I am terrific. I am tremendous. I am achieving and enjoying my objectives. I'm alive. I'm alert. I feel great. My life is terrific. I dwell now upon my objectives, my goals, my purpose. I hold a vivid image of the desired outcome. I can, I will, and I am getting better and better. I feel good about my life, my present, and my future. I like myself. I like other people. I look for things to like about life and the people I meet. I enjoy life more each day. I look for and expect good things to happen to and for me. People are increasingly thoughtful, considerate, and kind to me, and I am thoughtful, kind, and considerate to others. I have a good feeling about life, myself, and others. Things go well for me. I think well on my feet. I'm alert, alive, and vibrant. I have a positive mental attitude about everything, every situation, and everybody every day. Although at times challenges or difficulties may arise, I conquer them with my confident, positive, constructive approach and calmness. I can do all things through God who strengthens me. I recognize and appreciate the many blessings I receive, and I regularly give thanks for the good life I enjoy. I appreciate and enjoy the opportunity to learn, to grow, and experience new ideas. I am open to new ways of doing things. I learn from every experience. I review the experiences of life for lessons learned that I may grow and share. I recognize that as I learn, I elevate my awareness, my appreciation for life, and I prepare myself for an improved standard of living, a happy, confident life of continued growth, success, and prosperity. I am thankful for my business associates, my friends, and all my family members. Although at times we may have our differences, I appreciate them and love them and desire good things for them. I look for the best in every person I meet, even my opponents in the competitive situations of everyday life. I recognize that I may be the only happy, cheerful, helpful booster that some people may encounter today. They will feel better as a result of our meeting, even if we meet for only a fleeting moment. They will feel better as a result, and so will I.
Because of my constructive, positive, cooperative spirit, I help my associates
boss, employer, employees, customers, and listeners respectfully. I am respected and appreciated. I feel good about myself. I enjoy life fully and completely. I look and truly observe the magnificence and beauty of the sunrise and the sunset, the sky, the clouds, the mountains, the streams and lakes. I listen and I hear the happy melodies in the breeze, the songs and calls of the birds, the ocean waves, the rustling leaves, the cheerful laughter of little children at play. I am attentive to the sense of smell and the fragrances of life, the sweet aroma of new-mown grass, the clean, fresh air following a midday shower, the gentle, salty ocean breeze, and the perfumed blossoms of springtime. I touch and actually feel the warm sand beneath my feet, the cool breeze on my cheeks, and a firm handshake of a friend. I stop to smell the flowers, and even more importantly, I observe their intricate detail, touch and feel their texture, experience the softness of the petals, enjoy and mentally record their fragrance. I am happy, excited, joyful, and often blissful.
Yes, pain is indeed inevitable. Suffering is optional. I choose happiness, health, and success. Therefore, I regularly feed my mind wholesome, positive thoughts by what I read, what I listen to, and whom I associate with. I control my life. I recognize that happiness or unhappiness comes from happiness or unhappiness thoughts, from what I read, what I listen to, from the people with whom I associate. I no longer allow toxic thoughts to contaminate my mind and body. I practice the as-if principle. Whatever I desire, I act as if it is a reality. And as I practice the feeling, it reinforces the thought that stimulates the action to produce the reality. Acting as though I'm happily in love, espousing loving words, implementing loving deeds, reinforces and makes love a reality. Acting as though I enjoy my job or profession, doing what a successful person in my profession would do, causes me to become the successful person I am becoming. Even health and wellness result from the regular thinking, reading, listening, and practicing health and wellness as if activities. As I vision in my mind, as I actually see myself, so am I becoming, so am I. I hold in my mind a vivid image of the improved, happy, healthy, successful person I desire to become. I think, act, and live as that person does. I am becoming that person. I am that person. In every way, every day, I'm becoming happier and happier, healthier and healthier, and more successful. I can, I will. I am respectful of others and their values, feelings, and views. I am tolerant and understanding. I am kind, thoughtful, and considerate. I have quiet, confident personal power. I function calmly and confidently, even in chaos and confusion. I trust my feelings. I believe in myself and my intuition. I let no one or no thing take my power from me. I recognize that no one likes a moody person who pouts, complains, or whines. I am above that kind of immature, self-destructive behavior. I dwell on the future rather than the past. I set goals and accomplish them. I do what needs to be done when it needs to be done. I put the best connotation on everything and every person. I expect things to work out successfully and right, and they do. I feel good about myself and my life. I sleep comfortably, peacefully, and soundly every night. I rest, relax, and re-energize. I awaken early each morning, cheerful and enthusiastic about the new day. I get up out of bed immediately. I read or listen to a positive, uplifting message such as this tape. With a happy, nourished mind, I enjoy going out into the freshness of the morning, exercising and filling my lungs with good, clean, clear, oxygen-filled air. I enjoy looking my best each day. I am a leader. I am neat, clean, and well-groomed. I nourish my mind and body properly. I choose and therefore enjoy a terrific day every day. I feel, act, and look confident. Each day I take time out for quiet relaxation, for silence. I enjoy silence. I connect and identify with nature. At least once each day I find a quiet place to practice mind-controlled relaxation, even if only for 5 minutes. 20 minutes is better. I relax from the tip of my toes to the top of my head. I let go of stress, anxiety, and frustration, and I replenish myself with energy, vibrance, and vitality. I concentrate on the wholesome, positive, and pure. I hold a vivid image in my mind of the better self that I am becoming physically, mentally, and emotionally. I have a worthy purpose in my life. I think successfully. I act successfully. I am terrific. I am tremendous. I am achieving and enjoying my objectives. I'm alive. I'm alert. I feel great. My life is terrific. I dwell now upon my objectives.
You've just heard and absorbed a tremendous amount of wisdom, insight, and information, all of it charged with the power to permanently change your life for the better. But will it? That is the critical question, and the only person who can answer it is you. As any star athlete will tell you, the real power and strength lies in the follow-through. I'm going to level with you. Many people who listen to an audio program such as this one never ultimately see that program's true rewards. It's not because the program's information was inadequate or couldn't deliver. It's because at some point along the way, the listener abandoned the process. Life sometimes, as it does with all of us, just gets in the way. It can crowd out our truest heart's desires. People who experience this often start out feeling much as you probably do right now. Excited, motivated, dedicated, ready to make the changes they need to make in order to reach the goals and achieve the dreams they've set forth for themselves by listening to this life-changing program. That's probably why they purchased it in the first place. The first week after finishing the program goes great. They're shouting from the rooftops that this is it. This is the time that the change will be permanent. They've found the answer. But as the days and weeks go by, the enthusiasm dies down, the vision fades, and the old habits creep back in. Maybe life deals them a blow or setback, and the goals they originally set for themselves take a back seat, and maybe, over time, get forgotten completely. The program gets put on a shelf, and pretty soon, they're right back where they started. It's simply human nature. Very few people have the extraordinary level of discipline it takes to be exclusively self-motivated. The rest of us need ongoing, interactive encouragement, support, and motivation if we are going to maintain our enthusiasm and really reach our goals. Without that, it can be impossible to remain focused and on track. At this point, don't wait until the challenges of life creep back in and keep you from doing what you were truly meant to do. Make a promise to yourself. Follow through now.